All right, Robert, we're going to take a look at your swings from your lesson the other day. I'm going to play both of the swings through for you. Video here on the left is your swing before we worked together at all, and the video on the right is there at the end. Pretty amazing changes to your golf swing in a 1 hour golf lesson, but really cool here. I want you to take a look at your impact positions and just sort of compare those. Dramatically different. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone change as much as you in a 1 hour period, but pretty incredible job by you. So these positions look completely different. Your impact alignments are completely different. Weight's more on your left side, more forward shaft lean, just a much more powerful golf swing. So let's talk a little bit about how you got there. So Robert, the first thing we did was sort of address your setup. We got your feet more flared out in this direction here. Got your knees flared out in that same direction. Got your weight more on your left side. And remember how we did that was we just had you slide your tailbone, toward the target about 1 or 2 inches. That put about 60% of your weight left. You got a beautiful forward shaft lean there. You're ready to hit the golf ball. So the keys for you to remember, we need to make sure that we incorporated a side bend and a side tilt into your backswing so that you stayed vertical. You stayed very, very centered on this pivot. So if I draw a line, sort of right down the side of your head here to the golf ball, you can see like sort of here's the axis that you'll be turning around. And the keys for you were really to feel as though you're going to have this left shoulder working straight down into your shoe, so to speak, on the backswing. Okay? So from there you can see as you put the club into motion, your pivot is much more stable. Versus on the left, your body mass and your weight are moving away from the target. So this position here on the right, we call this a vertical axis, a stable axis being stacked over the golf ball, whatever you want to call it. But the truth of the matter is, from this position, you have complete control over your low point. You're able to push it and draw it instead of cutting across it and hitting sort of weak cuts. As we got to the top, you're in a really good position here. The keys or the focuses were, let me remove some of these lines. The focuses for you were to remember that the swing starts from the ground up. So the first move was going to be your left knee pushing forward, and then followed by your left hip pushing forward, while your upper center, your head and sternum didn't move. Remember the head on the pole drill? I put a little pole right here. You had to push your lower center forward while your head stayed still. Well, what that's going to do is allow you to maintain those wrist angles and that forward shaft lean that you're looking for as you get into impact. And you can just see an incredibly beautiful impact position here. Nice forward shaft lean, weight forward. You got 70 to 80% of your weight on your left side. Very, very solid position. If you take a look here on the left, get to the top. Don't get quite as far forward. The wrist angles have to dump and sort of flip at the bottom. So you've got more of a neutral or even maybe a slightly backwards handle. Pretty neutral, so to speak. Well, that adds more dynamic loft on the face than we need. The shot goes higher and weaker. The ball doesn't have compression on it. But the biggest issue is that with your weight moving back to the right the way that it has, you compromise the low point of your swing. You know, you hit fat shots, thin shots, you know, because of the low point moving back. As we move on through the golf ball, the thing that's really impressive is how you're able to keep that right arm flying wedge and that extension. You know, and here's that flying wedge through the golf shot. Versus here, it's more of just a straight line, so to speak. Got a little bit, but more of a straight line. You can definitely start to see the left wrist breakdown here. Versus on the right, it's in a straight line down your arm. Much more powerful position onto the finish. And remember, this was a drill I had you in, flying wedge drill. And this is a drill that I want you to come to know and work on exclusively, just feeling your weight pushing forward, hips pushing forward, arms staying straight, and our upper body mass, our core, continuing to turn, because these wrist angles are intact because you've kept your pivot going and you haven't stalled your pivot. Okay, Robert, I want to do one last comparison. I have a PGA Tour player, Jamie Lovemark, on the right here. He also is a player that uses the swing methodology of a stable axis. So just kind of want to compare you position by position to him so you can see the similarities. So here, when the shaft's parallel to the ground, left arm parallel to the ground, top of the backswing position. Note how vertical his spine is, and the similarities to yours. First move down. See how he really presses into his left side, really pushes his hips forward. You guys are in very similar positions here. There's impact, maximum forward shaft lean. He might even have a little too much. Very, very similar positions. Extension through the shot. Flying wedge still intact. Big shoulder turn. Now the last piece that you don't have, and the piece that we're going to have to work on next, is this jumping and tucking and raising your belt buckle. Notice how Jamie has done that here on the right. That spinal extension, that thrust, that jumping off the ground. See how much flex you still have in your left knee? At this point, that should pretty much all be gone. Should be more in lines of this. That lets us know that we have jumped off the ground. We have exploded off the ground. We've generated a lot of speed by using our legs to press off the ground. So, anyways, that's what we'll work on together next. Hope this helps you. Give me a call if you have any questions.